Sorry.
We hit OK on that, and then let me get my slide deck up, and then we'll get rolling. Right. So it's going to be a mix of slides and then some demo stuff and all that good stuff. Can you see everything okay, Kim?
Yep, I see it. Great.
Should say how smart commercial agents use AI to win more deals in less time. Okay.
Nice.
So that's really the title of the session today. We're going to talk a little bit about 4 tactical case uses that you can use to just really save you time, right? If you don't know me, I know a lot of you guys are in Long Beach or in South Bay, don't really communicate too much with the commercial agents. But I'm the team leader here in the Palos Verdes Market Center. Been in real estate for 22 years. I'm also in regional leadership as the regional tech trainer for the LA region. And I've really dove in pretty heavy into a lot of AI applications and uses. So Kim asked me to hop on today to chat a little bit with you guys on some ways that we can start to incorporate AI into commercial, which I think's just really important. I mean, AI is one of those tools that right now a lot of people kind of look at it as it's kind of nice, it's cute, it's a little toy, but the AI is getting better and all the time, and it's improving all the time. And I think it's going to be a situation similar to like cell phones or even the internet. When they first got launched, cool. I'm going to play around with it a little bit. But now in our environment today, none of us could operate our businesses without a cell phone or without the internet. And I think we're going to really accelerate this fast with AI. And I think at the end of the day, if it can save me time, and in time, we know time is money. If it could save us time and money so that we could do more with less, then it's something that you definitely should be diving into. So we're going to go through this pretty slow as far as that goes. Give you plenty of time to ask some questions. If you need anything, just raise your digital hand, come off mute, and there are no kind of silly questions in this. Okay, cool. So let's just hop into kind of one of the first ways that you can use this. Again, it's a little hash or summary of what we just talked about. AI matters because it's not going to replace real agents. At the end of the day, our core business is relationships with people. And I think will enhance that because if I have more time to spend having better conversations with people, because I'm doing less of the admin work or less of creating documents or writing letters or emails and that type of thing, I could spend more time having conversations with people and developing relationships, right? Don't really need a tech background to use AI because anything you don't know, you just ask it to walk you through it, and it does. And we're going to give you some practical takeaways that you guys can use immediately as well too. Okay, so kind of let's hop into the kind of first case use that you guys can use. Um, so use case one, summarize leases and OMs in seconds. So what you basically do with this is you upload the document that you have. So your OM or your lease or market reports, whatever you have, if you want to disseminate the information really quickly, you can upload any PDF into AI, and then it can extract key data for you, or key data points for you. So if you want to focus in on clauses or terms or tenant info, just tell it what you want or what you want it to pull out or extract, and it will. And so, uh, not having to read through, these encyclopedias of documents so that you can get the information you want out can save a lot of time. Just give you an example, and this has nothing to do with like documents like this, but I have my AI actually reading my emails right now, specifically looking for the newsletters that I get every day. And, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I just don't have time to read through all these newsletters. And half the time I don't read them at all, right? But I want the information. So now I have AI actually reading my emails. When it comes across the newsletter, it'll extract the information or the key points or the highlights from the newsletter, and then put those into a document for me so that I could just end of the day, end of the week, read the highlights of what I missed rather than having to go read through all of that stuff every day. Probably saves me a good half an hour, 45 minutes every day versus reading the newsletters, and I still get the same content. So let me show you what this kind of actually looks like. So I'm going to stop my share here real quick. Or actually, I don't need to stop the share. I just need to shrink the screen here. Okay, so you guys can still see my screen, correct? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is just give you an example of this. So I'm going to go into this prompt library that I created for this class or for this session. And so use case one, summarize offering memos or leases, right? So this is the prompt that I would put into, say, for example, ChatGPT to get the information that I want. So it says summarize this offering memorandum in bullet points for a buyer. Focus on tenant details, lease terms, financials, and location value. Keep it under 10 bullets. So that's the prompt that I'm going to use. So I'm going to just copy that. And then I go into ChatGPT and I paste that prompt in there, right? Summarize, so it's exact same thing there. And then I'm going to find that OM or that lease that I have or whatever document that I want to have it analyze for me. And then I'm going to upload that file. So if I go in here, the OM for the demo that I'm doing here, I'm going to basically attach it to that. And then before I actually share this, let me show you what I'm actually uploading so you can kind of see the difference between the two. So I'm going to change my share because I'm going to open up that actual file and I'll share that. Okay, so I think it's important to see that. So if I go in here and let me change the share real quick. And let me share my screen again one more time. And I'm looking for, here we go. Okay, so can you see that PDF right now?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, so this is basically, let's just say I had an OM. Here's all the information of that. And then I, rather than me kind of reviewing all of this, if I wanted to send a really quick thing that I can update or a summary, then I can take this, which is what I uploaded into ChatGPT, right? And then I can do that summary. So that's what I uploaded into ChatGPT. So I'm going to change the share back to there we go. Here. So now you should be back on my ChatGPT screen. So there's that OM. I asked it to summarize it, put it in bullet points, focus on tenant details, lease terms, financials, location value, keep it under 10 bullets. So once I do that, then I just click enter. Right. And then here's the concise buyer focus summary of the offering memorandum that I have in here. Here's the tenant, right value pharmacy, right? Here's the lease term. Here's the annual rent and NOI. Here's the rent increases, lease type, asking price, cap rate, location, retail synergy, and market barrier. Let me know if you want this formatted for a buyer pitch deck or email, right? So if I wanted to have it formatted differently, or if I wanted it to add some different things or take some different things out, then I could do that as well. And now I've got something really, really easy to utilize, right? Another cool thing that you could do with this, I wasn't actually planning on sharing it with you guys but now that we're here and we're talking about pitch decks, and I know I got a little bit more time with you guys, there's a really cool app if you want to create pitch decks around this kind of stuff. So if I go and say, create an 8-slide pitch deck, So there's a tool I'm going to show you guys here really quick called Gamma. And it's actually the slide deck that I'm showing you guys right now. I built this slide deck in this. So if you wanted to put together a PowerPoint presentation on this, say for example, or any other thing that you're using, this is really cool. So if I go and say, hey, I want all this information with this information. So basically now I can copy all of this. And then I'm going to open up this website called gamma.app. So it's GAMMA.app. You're lucky I like you guys because I'm using my credits, but there's free accounts and there's paid accounts. I'm just using a free account because I don't do that many slide decks every month, and they limit how much you can do for free. But if you're doing a lot of slide decks, then it's not very expensive. I think it's only like $20 a month to upgrade. But I'm going to hit create new AI here. And then I'm going to click paste in text. And then I'm going to paste that text in here. And then what I want to do with this is I want to do this as a presentation. And then we're going to continue to the prompt editor. So this is basically going to be the slides, kind of, and if you want to go in here and edit how any of these slides might look, you can edit those. But it's really cool because I'm going to go and hit continue. It's going to ask me what theme I want to utilize. So, hey, I want a professional looking theme. Let's just say I like this coloration, right? And then I hit generate. So what this is going to do now is that's going to actually create the slide deck for me. And if you don't like the emojis or anything like that, you can go in there and change them or change them to bullet points and all that kind of stuff. And so if you go and you look at this, I got my investment overview, got my information, and you can edit it, like I said, any of these things right from here. You got your tenant summary, right? You got your lease terms, you got your financials, location highlights, surrounding retail synergy. And here's the thing that you want to make sure that you do as well too. Sometimes AI makes some stuff up. So you can't just have it create things for you and then not review it. You got to make sure that you review it to check to make sure that it's accurate and that there aren't any errors or anything like that. But let's just assume that all of these things are accurate. And then here's the investment highlights, next steps. And then now I can go and I can take this and I can share directly from here. I can enter presentation mode. If I hit share, I have some different options on how I'm going to share this. If I want to put together as a slide deck, I can export it to PowerPoint or Google Slides, and then I can do my presentation with those people. This is a really easy way to create some really beautiful slide decks that you can do in minutes rather than, I don't know about you guys, it takes me a long time to get and do some of these slide decks. Okay. So that is kind of use case one, how we can create some really good summaries by extracting key data from longer documents. Any questions before we move on to the next one?
Do you have to have the paid version to do what you did?
No, I have the paid version. I think that if you are in our business, this is something that you probably should upgrade to because there's a lot of case uses for using AI. And the thing is it's basically the way that ChatGPT or any of the AI programs work, most of them have free version, but then basically AI works on token usage. So the more tokens I use, then I eat up through that bandwidth. The paid version, it's pretty much unlimited. Free version, you can do all of this stuff in the free version. But then once you get to your token kind of limit, then it basically will say, hey, you've exceeded your token usage for the day. We're going to take you down to the less version of ChatGPT until tomorrow when you can access more questions to ask the stuff. So it doesn't require that you have the paid version. Just if you want the best, most accurate capabilities, you're going. It's $20 a month. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Well, there's no more questions on that one. Then we'll go into kind of another case use for you guys as well too. So case use two is draft investor updates or proposals. So you can take raw deal notes or unstructured data points and then have the AI process it to format it and enhance the content so that it's a lot more polished, right? So you can have a little bit more professional LP updates, proposals, things like that. So kind of the same thing. I'm going to go back in here and kind of show you an example of that. So kind of same thing. Let's open up an investor update that I created a dummy investor update for that will show you how to kind of summarize really quick. So let me hit the screen share on this one. And this should see this PDF right now. Deal name, Northgate Retail Strip in Anaheim, status, purchase price, cap rate, NOI, all this other kinds of good stuff. Planned improvements, market highlights, goals. So these are just notes maybe that I took. I want to put this into a little bit more polished, professional looking thing. So now I'm going to go back to my AI. And let's take basically this next prompt, right? So the prompt I wrote for this is draft a professional investor update based on these notes. Include a deal summary, financials, tenant info, market context, and equity status. Write it in a confident professional tone that feels like a polished email or PDF memo to existing LPs, right? So I'm going to just copy that prompt, and then I'm going to go into this, and I'm going to type that prompt in here, right? Or not type, I just pasted it. Makes it a little easier. So then I'm going to take those notes that I just showed you, and I'm going to upload those into here. And then now I just click the arrow to get back what I asked for. So here's a polished investor update styled as a professional memo for LPs. Investor update Northgate Retail Strip. Date from what status it's in. Deal summary, right? Financial snapshot. Tenant overview. And then planned capital improvements. Market context. Business plan and outlook. And next steps on what we're going to do next, right? And then say, for example, hey, you know what? My client is corporate, probably not going to really love the emojis and all of that other kind of stuff. So I can ask it, can you rewrite this and take out the emojis? This is for a corporate board and needs to be a little more professional. So then it'll basically redo the whole thing, taking out the emojis. And then kind of like the same thing that I told you before, I'm not going to just copy and paste this and send it I need to read through this. Is this all accurate? Is there anything that's wrong? Is there any corrections that I want it to make? And then once I read through it, and then I'm good with it, cool. Then I could basically take this information that's here and then copy that, and then go into something like Google Docs or whatever you like to edit things. Open up a blank document, and then now I can just paste that in there, and then I can send that out, right? Or if you wanted to do some extra formatting or different things like that, there you have the ability to do some of those things as well too. Okay. Any questions on that one? It saves a lot of time for sure. Rather than me having to manually go and write all of that stuff out, I have the ability in here to be able to do that as well. Okay, so let's go back to the slide deck if there's no questions.
John, excuse me.
Yeah,
Quick question.
sure.
Is the Chat GPT comparable to Google Gemini?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of that, all the AIs are great. I know that some people like to use Grok, which is a Twitter, an X or Twitter product. There's a tool called Claude, which a lot of people like to utilize. Gemini obviously is really great. Microsoft has Copilot. ChatGPT is each one has some different functions that I think that do pretty well. If I'm doing market research, a really good one is called Perplexity. That one's geared more for like research-based stuff. I tend to go to ChatGPT a lot just because when you're talking about kind of king of the hill that has the overall probably best multi-use functioning, ChatGPT is really, really good. But you know, say for example, Claude is really good at writing. And so sometimes I'll use Claude if I need to write something really polished because I don't want my writing things to sound like AI wrote it either, right? Because that just doesn't isn't necessarily the best look professional. So I'll come up with the content a lot of times in Chat GPT, and then I'll paste that content, say for example, into Claude, and Claude is CLAUD. So I'll paste it into Claude and then ask it to rewrite it for me to sound more natural, less like AI wrote it, and then it helps me write stuff better. So like I'll use Perplexity to do research. I'll use Chat GPT for most everyday type just work stuff, and then I'll use a lot of times Claude to help me write content as well too. But Gemini's great too. So just play around with all of them. But like I said, my go-to for most stuff is ChatGPT.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. Okay, so going into kind of use case number 3 is zoning, research zoning and market trends. So we can have it do zoning and interpretation, which will then take some of these zoning codes and translate into plain English for us. We can do things like rent trend analysis, so getting market reports summarized in seconds. Or we could do some comp research, such as recent sales activity organized a little bit more clearly. So again, kind of the same thing. I'll give you an example here. So I got a couple different examples to show you how we would potentially do this. So use case number 3, zoning, rent trends, or comps. Ask AI to research and explain city zoning or market insights in plain English. So the first one, what are the permitted uses under C2 in zoning in Santa Monica? Summarize plain English and highlight any restrictions or residential or cannabis related uses, right? Because maybe it's a cannabis store that I am working with. So I could just copy that prompt, go into whatever AI you like to use, and then I'm going to paste that in there. Now, in ChatGPT, if you use it, this doesn't work necessarily in the free version, I don't think. But if you use the paid version, you can go where it says tools, and then you can put search the web. And then basically what that will then do is it'll do a deeper research on whatever you're wanting to search out. So like in this particular case, I'm asking it to do research. And because I'm asking it to do research, I want it to really focus in on doing a deeper dive on stuff, right? Another safeguard that you might want to put in there is make sure you can confirm this research. Don't hallucinate. So sometimes if I want it to be as deadly accurate as I could possibly get it, I'll make sure that it's only pulling in things, or I'll put guardrails around it to make sure that it's only pulling in accurate information. Because sometimes the AI wants to just answer you, and so it will pull in information that might not necessarily be accurate. And part of the problem, I'll give you an example, is if I asked to give me information on a listing from Zillow or LoopNet or whatever, sometimes on those listing pages, it'll have not just the property information, but then they'll throw little blurbs about other properties on that as well. And then when the AI reads the web page, it sees not just the information about the property that you are interested in, but it might read information about the property that is like in a small box down at the bottom on other properties you could look at, and then it might throw that information in there, right? So we want to try to make sure that we put some guardrails in so that it doesn't give us wrong information. Because I'll hear sometimes from people is AI is always wrong. And it's not that it's always wrong. It's giving you the information that it found. And if the information that it found has inaccurate information on it, then that's what causes some of the problems. So like if you had a website for say, for example, Santa Monica, and you wanted to research the zoning laws from Santa Monica City's website, you can give it the website or give it the specific link to all of the documents or whatever and have it scan through that. That's going to be super accurate, right? So the more accurate information we can give to the AI, the more accurate information we're going to get back, right? So I'm going to just click enter on that. Now it's doing a deep search of the web. And then basically it's going to give me the C2 zoning permitted usage, right? And it's going to tell me where the source that it got this from. So if something looks off, I can go to that website and see, why I can actually reference. When you just do a normal search, a lot of times it's not going to kind of give you the sources. But if you use that search tool, it'll give you the sources for everything that it's basically saying. So that way you can really validate that. So it looks like it's pulling a lot of this stuff from Greenworks Construction. But there is this one from santamonica.gov, which these ones are probably definitely pretty good because it's coming right from the Santa Monica website. So it's going to give you the C2 zoning permitted uses, residential uses, any cannabis related uses as well too. And then it made a nice little summary table for me. Retail shops, cool, right? We're good. Restaurants, offices, cool, we're good. Residential, no, we can't do that. Cannabis medical, only 2 max. So we're going to need to make sure that there's not more than 2 medical cannabis places, if that's what my client is, that is going in that area. Recreational, I can't do it there, right? So that really makes that pretty easy. And then it gives you a little summary down at the bottom on any of this kind of stuff. And then let's say, hey, I wanted to send this to my potential buyer or my potential client. I can ask it, hey, can you create a handout or document that I can send this info to my client? Please make it professional. Include the chart you created and no use of emojis. And then it'll basically then create something that I can send to my client. So it'll create it in this canvas, or ChatGPT will create it in this canvas, then makes it really easy to copy and paste, right? Because then all I got to do here after it finishes writing all of this stuff, I don't even need to highlight it, because when it creates something in a canvas like this, you can just hit copy and then it copies the whole thing. And then I can go into, again, say for example, this, and then I'll just paste that. Makes it super simple. Okay, any questions on that one? I'll give you another example too.
I have a question about the resources. Can you direct it to only pull information from certain websites if you were concerned about where it's gathering the data?
100%.
Mm.
Yep, 100%. So if you wanted it to only pull information from the Santa Monica City website, you can basically tell it only pull information that you could find on this from santamonica.gov. And then it'll only pull information from there, right? That's what I'm saying. The more specific that you can be with the AI, the better results that you're going to get back.
I heard something really interesting this morning. This is a little off topic, but um, I happened to be listening to a podcast about AI, and the person said that we need to stop thinking about putting in search terms or keywords like we do for Google. We've been using Google for, more or less 20 years, so that's kind of how we're trained to do it, and to think more about this as your assistant and another person, what would you be telling them? If you wanted a cup of coffee, you would tell them what kind of coffee, which coffee shop to go to, what time you want it. You like all the specific details, as opposed to in Google, we might just Google, coffee shop near me or something.
Yeah, well, it's that really is 100% accurate. You got to treat this like it's a person or a partner, and then you tell it what you want. So think about it like if you had an assistant and you asked them to pull any of this information, would you tell them to just, hey, find something on Google? Well, you would tell them exactly how you want them to search, and that's the same thing here. Think of this as like your assistant, and in order for them to do their job, what information do you need to provide to them? And then that makes that'll get you the results that you want, right? Um, and so like the next one, hey, I want to find some rent trends. So cool. I'm going to copy that prompt. Let me go out of this canvas, and then now I'm good with this. And then I paste that one in there. Summarize rent trends for small retail spaces under 2,000 square feet in Anaheim, California from 2022 to now. And kind of to your point, Kim, if I wanted to search a specific public facing website, then I could tell it where to go, right? And then I just click enter on that. I forgot to do it, but on something like this, since I'm asking it to search, I probably would use the search feature again too. So here's Rent Trends Anaheim Small Retail. This came from LoopNet. Most recent listings in Anaheim show annual rents approximately 27.6 to 28.5 per square foot. In West Anaheim specifically, asking rent is 28.46. Post 2022 range as of late, Anaheim generally listed between 27.6 to 28 a square foot, aligning similarly with Orange County averages. Broader OC comparison basically gives you a little bit broader for all of Orange County. And then size specific listings, current small space listings under 2,000 square feet range roughly $2 to $3 square foot a month, equating to 24 to 36 square foot a year, depending on the lease structure, right? Here's some of the key takeaways. Rents have held firm since 2022, small upticks. Market positioning remains well positioned for small retail tenants. Lease variability. Here's a little summary table, and then kind of a little bottom line, right? And if you want, it says, let me know if you'd like a breakdown by submarket, West Anaheim, or a comparison to regional cores like Orange and Garden Grove, and then it could do all of them. Okay, any questions on that one? Saves us a lot of time, that's for sure. Right. A couple more prompts to go over with you guys, and then I'll answer any questions that you guys might have. Use case 4, generate outreach and LOIs. So if you wanted to do cold emails, letters of intent, or review process, this can save you time crafting conversations or emails or notes that you want to send. Right. So I'm going to get out of this one. And we'll go to this prompt library that I put in here. So the first one is write a professional outreach email to the owner of a retail strip center. I'm representing a buyer looking for stabilized retail in Orange County. Include a call to discuss off-market opportunities. If I had more specific information about the retail strip center, I would probably include that into the prompt. Because again, the more specific we can be, the more personalized that it's going to be, and it's going to sound a lot less like just, a cold call, right? So we want to be as specific as we possibly can. So I'm going to just copy that one and then paste that prompt into here. And again, the more detailed that I could be, the better. And then let's just see what it gives us. So subject, buyer interested in stabilized retail, Orange County. Dear whoever this person is, I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out on behalf of a qualified client actively seeking stabilized retail opportunities in Orange County. They're focused on a well-located strip centers with strong tenant performance and minimal deferred maintenance. Your property came across my radar as a potential fit, and I wanted to see if you might be open to an off-market discussion. While I understand you may not be actively marketing the asset, our client is prepared to move quickly on the right opportunity and would approach the process with discretion and professionalism. If there's any openness to having a brief conversation, I welcome the chance to connect and learn more about your plans for the property. Please let me know a good time to speak, or feel free to call me directly at, and then you put your phone number in. Best regards, and then your information, right? And then it says, let me know if you'd like a version tailored to a specific property or written with a more casual or aggressive tone depending on the owner's profile. So if we wanted to say for maybe, I know this person, maybe I know this person, and this person's really a high D, right? Owner's name is Kim. She's a high D on the disc. Let's match that tone. Right? Quick note, buyer interested in your retail property. Hi, Kim, reaching out with qualified buyer actively seeking stabilized retail in Orange County. Your property fits the profile. Solid location, income in place, minimal friction. Not looking to waste your time. If there's any openness to discussing an off-market deal, let's connect. My client can move fast and close clean. If it's not a fit right now, no problem. But if there's even a small window, I'd like to talk. High Ds want you to get right to the point right away. Don't want to read a big, long laundry list of stuff. This changed to that based on what I told it to do, right? Now, what's really cool about that is, hey, I could, maybe I don't trust AI and I don't want to write everything for me. If I wrote, let's say, for example, AI didn't write this, I wrote that, right? Then I could say, hey, you know what? Kim is a high D. Can you take what I put here and maybe craft a message that would appeal more to her disc profile? Then even if I wrote it, then it would just change what I wrote into something that's going to resonate more with Kim, right? And then it says, let me know if you want to add specifics about the buyer's timeline, target cap rate, or if this should be structured for text or LinkedIn outreach instead. Hey, can you redo this for a LinkedIn? Maybe I sent the email didn't get responded to. They didn't respond to the, let me put this in here. They didn't respond to this email. Can you redo this in the LinkedIn outreach for me? Now I'm going to try to hit this person up on LinkedIn. Cool. So basically now it rewrote kind of what I wanted to say, condensed it much more, and it's in more of a LinkedIn kind of style format, right? And then you can ask it, let me know if you want a follow-up message in case she connects but doesn't reply. So I can keep asking it for more stuff as well too. And then this last one is, I want it to craft an LOI for me. So generate a professional letter of intent for its $4.2 million retail center purchase in Anaheim. Buyer Smith Holdings, LLC. Close 60 days, 3% earnest money, properly delivered, vacant, all cash, right? Here's a polished letter of intent you can use for your retail center. It's telling you that to use your buyer letter header, email header, if it's going to be an email. June 10th, 2025. Reason, letter of intent, acquisition of retail property in Anaheim, California. 2, you would want to put your seller's name, property owner, right? Dear seller's name, this letter of intent outlines the general terms and conditions under which Smith Holdings LLC is prepared to acquire the above referenced retail property from the property owner. Seller's name would be in there. While not legally binding, this LOI is intended as a framework for negotiating a definitive purchase and sale agreement. Purchase price, this is what the purchase price is going to be. Here's what the earnest money deposit is going to be. Here's what the due diligence period is going to be. Here's when the closing is going to be. Here's the property condition that needs to be delivered. Financing, this is what the financing is going to look like. Here is what the brokerage is in terms of who's paying fees, things like that. Confidentiality, non-binding agreement. If these terms are acceptable, we are prepared to move forward immediately with drafting the formal PSA, right? John Morris, on behalf of buyer, authorized representative for Smith Holdings, LLC. And it says, let me know if you'd like this to deliver as a branded PDF with space for counter signature or formatted with your broker attorney info for official submission. So if you're writing LOIs, this could be a way to speed up that process as well too. But again, can't stress enough, if you're going to do this, make sure that you read it before you send it. That way you don't get into any trouble on anything for a typo. Because one thing I will tell you for sure is AI is really bad at dates. So I'm actually shocked that it got the date right in here, because it'll always be working with it and it'll say, okay, yes, today is June 12th. No, it's not June 12th, it's June 10th. So it gets dates wrong a lot. So anything, especially around dates, make sure that you check. And then it really struggles a lot of times with dates and days of the week. So it can't tell time very well, at least not yet. So, and then like I said, just, anything that has to do with reviewing or writing, this works really well for a lot of those things. So how you can kind of make it started, I can send you over the prompts I used today, or I can send it to Kim and Kim can get those out to you. And then start just working with it and using it, because it'll make you faster. And I like to call it stacking, because think of it like this. If you use AI and it could save you, let's just say an hour a day, and you work 5 days a week, right? I save 5 hours a week, 52 weeks in a year. That's 260 hours a year. So even if it saves me an hour a day, that might not seem like a big deal, but when you start talking about getting 260 hours back by the end of the year, if you worked every week, that's pretty significant. I mean, now we're talking in line with, we talk about a 40-hour work week and you've got an extra 260 hours. That's a lot of time. We're talking about like 6 weeks worth of work that you get, or not. That's about six weeks worth of work hours that you get back, which can now help you get more business or just take more time off, right? And then you master by making sure that you're customizing it for your specific needs. Have any questions on any of this stuff? My email is johnmorris@kw.com. You can follow me on Instagram. It's john_r_morris. And then I'll send the prompts that I used today to Kim as well too. All right. Any questions that you guys have?
I have a question for you. Have you ever used this to translate either an email or letter or document into another language? And would you trust it with that? Like if you knew you had a client who first language was Japanese, would you trust it to translate that for you?
Well, you could cross-reference it too, right? Because you can use something like Google Translate. If you don't trust the AI, you could use Google Translate. But yeah, I mean, you could totally do that. I mean, if I go back in here really fast, um, can you translate this LOI into European Portuguese? And then basically now you have this in Portuguese, right? And then, like I said, maybe the first couple times, if I'm a little bit unsure, I can take this and I don't know if all this will fit into Google Translate. Yeah, it only will do 3,900 characters. But if I did it little bits at a time, just to kind of show you. Oops, didn't mean to do that. You can see buyer header, email signature, letter of intent, acquisition of commercial property in Anaheim. So it was pretty accurate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Which then that makes it really nice too, because if you need to send it out to people that the English is not their primary language, then you can write it in their language for them as well too. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, so this prompt library that I used, let me, because I built these out in Notion, so let me just do that, copy, put these into a Google Doc, share, and then Kim, I'll send them your way, and then you can send that out to everybody.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Yeah, for sure. If there's not any other questions, then we'll give you guys a little bit of time back. But if you need anything, just shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. I think the big thing is make sure that you are starting to use this, because if you don't, your competitors are. And if I have more time than you, if I don't need to hire an assistant because I can have ChatGPT do it for me, now I got more time than you and I got more money than you, and a competitor with more time and more money, not usually a great thing. All right. So let's make sure that we start to incorporate something that's going to be necessary anyway.
Well, I do have one question, one more question for you.
Sure.
At the start of the session, you mentioned about how you asked ChatGPT to look through your emails,
Yeah.
right? And pull out emails that lengthy emails, that newsletters or whatever that you might not have time to read. How would one go about doing that? Is that only the paid version?
No, excuse me. That's actually a lot more complex, because ChatGPT in itself won't necessarily do that. So I can explain the process really quick. But basically, what I have, how I set it up, is that when my Gmail that's my business email, when a newsletter that hits my Gmail account, and I gave the AI the specific emails that I'm wanting it to do. So it's not reading every email that's coming through my inbox. It's only reading the ones that I'm telling it to read. right? So like there's a newsletter I subscribe to called Ben's Bites. So I'll use that for an example. So Ben's Bites, I get an email from Ben's Bites. That triggers the AI. And so what happens is anytime that a Ben's Bites email hits my Gmail account, I'm using a company called make.com. It kind of is like Zapier, if you're familiar with Zapier. And what Make does, Make takes that email and then it sends it to OpenAI. OpenAI then reads the email for me, and then it basically, I've trained it or told it, I want you to summarize the top 3 takeaways from the email. I want you to tell me how this applies to real estate. And then I want you to give me some content that I can use from this to post on social, right? So the email comes in, Make sends it to OpenAI. OpenAI reads it. After it reads it, it says, here are the 3 biggest takeaways. Here's how it applies to real estate. Here's some social posting ideas for this. Takes that information, sends it back to make.com, and then it goes into Notion and it creates this tracker. So, I mean, I can show you what it looks like really quick. So it's, where's that? My AR radar weekly signals. So here's all these things from Ben's Bites. So rather than having to read through those emails, I just click open, Ben's Bites, June 10th, top 3 things. Google rolls out AI features like Search AI Mode, Gemini 2.5, VO3, and Imagen 4 integrating AI across its product suite. OpenAI acquires IO for $6.5 billion to develop pocket-sized AI hardware, and Mistral launches Devstral, an open-weight model. Here's how this applies to real estate. Real estate professionals can leverage AI tools like Google's Search AI Mode for enhanced research capabilities, OpenAI's upcoming hardware devices for innovative property showcasing, and Mistral's Devstral for efficient issue resolution and bug fixing in real estate software applications. Content opportunity. So I can, post something along the lines, discover how AI advancements like Google's Search AI Mode, blah, blah, blah. So then I can now have, hey, what's the 3 biggest takeaways? How does it apply to real estate? And if I wanted to post about it, here's basically a post that I can copy and paste. So rather than having to read through that whole newsletter, I got this. And then if there was something that I wanted to dive deeper into, then I can say, hey, you know what? I need to read a little bit more about number 2. Then I could just go back into my inbox, find that Ben's Bites, and then I can read the whole article if I wanted to as well too. But a lot quicker to read through this than to read the whole newsletter.
Yeah.
So you can set it up to read any kind of news. This isn't just for newsletters as far as that goes. It takes some work to set it up. It's not something that you could just ask ChatGPT to do. But you could literally, I know one agent that he's a residential agent, not a commercial agent, but I have one agent that I basically, through a similar process, when they open up a new escrow, they use a Google form to type in all the relevant information. And then the Google form gets sent to Zapier. Zapier then connects to Gmail. And then basically what it does is just by entering the information about the property into this Google form, once that person hits submit, all the parties that are going to be involved in the transaction, this is kind of like when they're starting a new escrow, it will automatically send information about the new escrow to the escrow department, the title department, the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, and all the parties that are involved in, or the team that's involved in making this transaction go. So that one Google form then will automatically send a new escrow email out to everybody that's going to be involved in the transaction. Pretty cool.
That's very cute. Cool. But John, what would you suggest if an agent doesn't feel comfortable or they don't think they're that techie to do the whole Zapier thing and connecting this platform to that platform? Like, are there people you can hire to do that, or?
Yeah, I mean, you could hire. I mean, if you went on to say, for example, like Fiverr or something like that, I know there's people that can set a lot of that stuff up.
Okay.
Okay. And then Sue said, will AI post for you on selected sites? So it won't necessarily automatically post for you. But with some integrations like Zapier or Make.com, you could probably have some automation done. One of the big things that things will do is, hey, if I want like a social post, I could. That's pretty simple. I mean, I just go to use my AI, I have it create the post for me, and then there are tools that are called post schedulers. So I can use a post scheduler. Like there's a company called Metricool, that's a good one too. Um, where basically I could then just copy and paste the post from that ChatGPT created for me into Metricool, and then I can schedule on what platform, at what day, and what time I want that post to happen. And then I can basically, so like for example, I can write a week's worth of social posts on a Sunday morning over coffee using AI, go into one of these scheduling tools and basically put all of that information into the scheduler and then forget it for the rest of the week, right? Cool. Well, that's what I got. If you guys have questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, John. This was super valuable.
Yeah, for sure. Talk soon.
Bye.
See ya.